Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Section 7 of our public policy course. Today, we are going to be talking about punishment. Now, we have to begin this with a question. Why do we punish people? And I'm talking about everything from criminal punishments to civil infraction fines and stuff to, your children at home. What is the point of the entire concept of punishment, whether you're talking about prison or sending a naughty child to the corner or everything in between? What's the goal there? What's the kind of desired outcome or desired effect of that punishment? Well, the way I learned it, there were 6 desired effects of punishment. Now, some textbooks say there's 4, some say there's 7, but I learned it as 6. I always really liked this set of 6, so this 6 is what I am going to teach you. Now, we're going to go over each one of these in turn, but in short, the 6 purposes of punishment are restitution, retribution, rehabilitation, incapacitation, general deterrence, and specific deterrence. Okay? And if you can remember all 6 of those, I'm sure you will be able to do very well on any test that I may have to give you. Now, the first one there is restitution. This means that you are being punished so that you can pay back monetarily or otherwise to the victim for the wrong you committed. And in the criminal justice system, that usually takes the form of either fines. You violated this law, so now you have to pay a fine of $100 or $10,000 or $5 million or whatever. And that money can either go to the victim directly, or it can go to kind of society as a whole, depending on how we classify who is the victim of a crime, right? So in certain crimes like assaults and car thefts and burglaries and things like that, the victim is very clear. In an auto theft, the victim is the person who owned the car you stole the car from, right? So if you need to pay restitution to them for the value of that stolen car, it's a fairly simple matter of figuring out the monetary value of that stolen or destroyed property. And you have to give them that money directly to the victim. Often the exact amount that was kind of valued, or maybe even a little bit more on top of that to compensate the victim for their distress and time wasted and all those things. But often there are crimes where the victim is not necessarily any one or even group of individuals. It's kind of society as a whole, right? So say not paying your taxes. Who is the victim there? Kind of our country, right? So it's often thought of that every crime kind of victimizes society as a whole, which is why society and the government as representatives of society are the ones that do the punishing. You'll notice in criminal trials in the United States, the court case isn't the victim versus the defendant, it's the state versus the defendant, right? And that comes from this view that the society is the victim. So when we do a restitution type punishment, again, could be a fine. That fine can very commonly, if there is no direct victim, just go to the state, right? Or whatever level of government we're talking about. I'm using state in the loose term here, not state as in the 50 states. In addition, under restitution, you can also find things like community service, right? If you committed a crime against the state or with the state as victim, speeding, drunken driving where you didn't actually get into a wreck, right? And there was no direct victim. You can be given kind of community service, and that is a way for you to non-monetarily but go out and spend your labor, your effort, your time providing a value to your community in order to give them that restitution for the crime you committed. Now, second one on there is retribution. And retribution is punishment is good kind of for punishment's sake, right? You did wrong to the victim or to society, so we are going to do wrong to you. We are going to punish you for the sake of punishing you because it kind of makes us feel good, if you will. It has a sense of moral balance and righteousness, right? One of the tricks with retribution is about proportionality, right? History is full of examples to where the punishment absolutely did not fit the crime. Everything, if you look at Vlad the Impaler, where you would get the death penalty for really, really, really minor crimes, or my favorite musical, Les Miserables, where a guy gets many years in prison for stealing a loaf of bread to feed a hungry family member. And then there's the opposite direction as well. Often companies will be found in violation of assorted laws, and their punishment is say a fine or something that is nowhere near heavy enough to kind of make them want to stop doing the thing. So if you only get a slap on the wrist for a relatively major crime, that's also a problem of proportionality. So when looking at retribution, when looking at kind of punishment for punishment's sake, the moral fairness, eye for an eye kind of idea, we need to make sure that the punishment kind of fits the crime. And you get minor punishments for minor crimes and major punishments for major crimes, medium punishments for medium crimes. But when that's off, this retribution part kind of loses most of its value, if you will. All right. Third one here is rehabilitation. We want to punish people so that they can learn from the punishment or during the punishment to kind of figure out what they did wrong, why what they did was wrong, and some kind of better way to act in the future if they find themselves in that same position, right? So maybe we catch somebody driving drunk. They haven't gotten in Iraq yet by the time they were arrested and pulled over and arrested. So maybe instead of sending them to prison, maybe we send them to alcohol rehabilitation facility, which is a very direct form of rehabilitation, so that they can learn how to not drink to excess, not drive after drinking. And the intention there is hopefully they'll learn from their mistake and not have to or not feel compelled to drive drunk again. You could also do things like, if people are committing petty crimes like shoplifting or minor burglary or something like that because they can't find a job, the rehabilitation program might consist of teaching them some kind of job skills, right? Either in jail or in prison or during their community supervision for probation. We might have some kind of rehabilitation program that teaches them some kind of job skill so they can get a decently paying job, and then they don't have to commit crimes to finance their lives and pay rent and things, which is what caused the problem in the first place. All right, we're going to be back with the final three in just a moment. Thank you.